My beloved child, I have been sitting by your bedside for every one of the 4,401 days that you felt the shadows were winning. I have watched the rhythm of your shallow breathing in the dark, and I am here to tell you that the weight you carry is about to dissolve into light. I have seen the way you press your hand against your chest when the anxiety rises, trying to steady a heart that feels like it's breaking under the weight of a body that has forgotten how to be whole. You have looked in the mirror and seen a stranger, someone worn down by the constant grind of doctor's visits, the mountain of medical bills that never seems to shrink, and the crushing loneliness of being the sick one, while the rest of the world moves on in a blur of activity. But I want you to listen, truly listen, to the sound of my voice in the silence of this moment. I am not a distant architect. I am the very breath in your lungs, and I am moving within you in a way you cannot yet see. The struggle you have endured, this long, weary road of chronic suffering, was never meant to be your final destination. I know the terror of those midnight hours when you wonder if you will ever feel light again, or if the financial strain of your condition will finally pull you under. I have seen you counting coins and checking balances, wondering how a body so tired can keep working to pay for treatments that only seem to offer a flicker of hope. Your worries are not invisible to me. Every tear you've shed over a bill you couldn't pay or a dream you had to set aside has been caught in my hands. You have felt forgotten, but I am the God who remembers the sparrow, and you are worth more to me than all the stars I have hung in the firmament. Right now, even as these words reach your spirit, I am beginning a work of sudden restoration. There is a shift occurring in the invisible realms, a divine alignment that is about to manifest in your physical form. For years, you have been told to manage your pain, to cope with your limitations, and to accept a life lived in the margins. But I am the God of the overflow. I am the great physician who does not need a prescription or a protocol to bring back what was stolen. I am reaching into the very marrow of your bones, into the intricate webbing of your nervous system, and I am speaking peace, be still. The inflammation that has ravaged your peace, the fatigue that has clouded your mind, and the underlying roots of this affliction are being addressed by my hand. You might feel a warmth spreading through you, or perhaps just a sudden, inexplicable sense of calm. Do not doubt it. This is not a coincidence. It is a visitation. I am addressing the financial chains that have bound you as well. Just as I am healing your cells, I am healing your circumstances. Doors that have been rusted shut for years are beginning to creak open. I am sending people into your life who will carry the resources you need, and I am arranging breakthroughs that will leave you breathless with gratitude. You will no longer have to choose between your health and your survival. I am your provider, and my storehouses are never empty. I know you have felt lonely in this battle. Even those who love you cannot truly understand the interior landscape of chronic illness, the way it steals your identity and leaves you feeling like a burden. But you are never a burden to me. You are my masterpiece. In the furnace of this affliction, your soul has been refined into gold. You have a depth of compassion and a strength of spirit that could only have been forged in the fire. And now the fire is receding. I am leading you out into a spacious place, a land of milk and honey where the air is sweet and your limbs are strong once more. This is your season of the suddenly. After years of gradually and never, you are entering the time of the now. I want you to release the grip of anxiety that has become your constant companion. It has tried to protect you from disappointment, but it has only succeeded in keeping you in a cage of fear. Let it go, trust me. I have never lost a battle, and I have never failed a child who cried out to me in the night. Your miracle is not just coming, it has already begun its descent. Believe that you are worthy of this. Believe that I love you not for what you can do, but for who you are, my beloved. Take a deep breath. Feel the expansion of your lungs. That is my spirit moving within you. I am mending the broken pieces. I am recalibrating your hormones, soothing your joints, and clearing the fog from your eyes. You will run and not grow weary. You will walk and not faint. The years that the locusts have eaten are being returned to you with interest. This story, which felt like a tragedy for so long, is turning into a testimony of my power and my presence. I am here. I am with you. And I am making all things new. Do not look back at the years of pain with bitterness, for I am using even those moments to build a foundation for the joy that is coming. You are being prepared for a weight of glory that far outweighs your suffering. The phone call you've been waiting for, the test result that changes everything, the unexpected provision that clears your debt. These are all being woven into the tapestry of your life at this very second. Rest in me. Your 4,401 days of waiting are over. Stand up now. Do not wait for the permission of your old symptoms, for they have no more dominion over the temple I have built. Feel the cold tiles against the soles of your feet, feet that have known the heavy drag of exhaustion for a decade and more. Notice how the floor no longer feels like an enemy, but a stage. There is a strength rising in your calves, a steel returning to your spine that you thought was lost to the erosion of time and systemic fire. The iron band that has constricted your chest, making every breath a calculated chore, has snapped. I have breathed into your nostrils the same breath that stirred the dust of the first dawn. You are experiencing the silent explosion of grace within your very marrow. I am pouring light into the dark crevices of your vertebrae, smoothing the jagged edges of inflammation until your movements are like oil on water. Think of the cane leaning against the corner of your room, that wooden monument to your limitations. It is a relic now. Think of the pill organizers with their plastic lids, the clicking sounds of your daily bread of chemicals. Those days of measuring your life in milligrams are dissolving into the past. I am the great physician, and I have just performed a surgery of the soul and the flesh that no blade could ever achieve. Can you feel the warmth? It is not a fever, but my hand resting upon the small of your back, pushing you forward into a life you stopped dreaming of because the disappointment had become too heavy to carry. I saw you in the quiet hours of 2:00 a.m., when the house was a tomb of silence and your tears were the only thing moving. I saw you stare at the ceiling, questioning if I had forgotten the address of your suffering. I never left your side. I was the strength in your weakness, and now I am the life in your life. The fog that has sat like a thick, gray veil over your mind, blurring your memories and stealing your focus, is lifting. Look out the window. Do you see how vibrant the green of the leaves is? It is as if the world has been resaturated. This is how I see you, vibrant, whole, and pulsing with the rhythm of my heart. You have been a prisoner of hope for so long, and today, the gates have swung wide on hinges of mercy. Do not be afraid of the energy bubbling up in your stomach. It is not anxiety. It is the long-dormant seed of your destiny finally cracking open. You will go to that kitchen and pour a glass of water, and as it hits your throat, you will know that the drought of your health has ended. You will walk up those stairs, the ones that felt like a mountain peak you could never conquer, and you will do it without pausing to catch your breath. Your family will look at you and see a ghost return to life, a shadow filled with substance. I am doing this not just for your comfort, but so that when they ask how the impossible became your reality, you can point to the heavens. Your body is now a living scroll, written with the ink of my favor. Every step you take from this moment on is a declaration of victory over the statistics that tried to define you. The specialists who shook their heads, the reports that whispered, permanent, the insurance forms that tallied your decline, they are all being overridden by a higher law. I am the author of the laws of nature, and I have just issued a decree of restoration for your sake. I am knitting together the frayed ends of your nervous system, recalibrating the electrical pulses of your brain so that peace, not panic, becomes your default state. I am reaching back into your childhood, healing the ancient wounds that manifested in your physical frame, releasing the tension you've held since you were small. You are being unburdened. The weight of chronic is being lifted off your shoulders, replaced by the easy yoke of my grace. I want you to remember the smell of the rain and the feeling of the sun on your skin, for you will be spending much more time in my creation. No longer will you be an observer from a window. You are a participant in the dance of the living. I am restoring your appetite for food, for laughter, and for the future. The dreams you tucked away in a dusty drawer, the ones labeled, "If only I were well," I am bringing them back into the light. It is time to start planning again. It is time to look at the calendar not as a series of appointments to endure, but as a canvas of opportunities to embrace. I am the God of the second wind. I am the God of the 11th hour. And while the world says the clock has run out, I say the timing is finally perfect. You are not just surviving, you are being launched. Every ache that has left your body has been replaced by a double portion of my spirit. I am filling your lungs with a song that you haven't been able to sing for years. Listen to the rhythm of your heart. It is beating a new cadence, a steady, strong anthem of "I am healed, I am whole, I am His." This is the day the Lord has made, and for you, it is the first day of the rest of your eternity. Do not rush this moment. Savor the absence of pain. Let it wash over you like a warm tide. There is much more I have to show you, much more I have to give. We are just beginning to walk through the garden of your new life together. The heavy cloak of exhaustion is being unpinned from your shoulders, falling away to the floor like a shadow that has lost its power. You have lived so long under the pressure of the not yet, and the why me, that the absence of that burden feels like a new kind of gravity, lighter, buoyant, almost as if you could float above the floorboards of this room. Do you remember the chair by the window? The one where you spent those long afternoons watching the seasons change, while your own life felt frozen in a perpetual winter. I was sitting there with you, even when the pain was a roar that drowned out my whisper. Every tear that fell onto that worn fabric was collected, not one was lost. And now, I am using those very tears to water the seeds of the joy that is currently breaking through the soil of your spirit. Look at your hands, the ones that have gripped the edges of sheets in agony and reached out in the dark for a hand you couldn't always feel. See how steady they are now. I have rewoven the nerves, infused the tendons with a resilience that is not of this world, and smoothed the jagged edges of your weariness. You are going to use these hands for things you had long ago archived in the library of maybe in heaven. You will need dough for a neighbor's bread. You will grip the steering wheel with a sense of adventure instead of a dread of the destination. And you will hold those you love with a strength that tells them you are truly back. There is a kitchen table waiting for you, no longer a place of pill bottles and half-eaten meals, but a sanctuary of laughter and long, slow conversations. I am restoring the flavor to your life. Can you taste the sweetness in the air? It is the scent of the morning you thought would never come. Your recovery is not just a repair. It is a renovation. I am not just putting you back to where you were before the illness began. I am taking you to a state of wholeness you have never known. The years the locusts have eaten are being returned to you in a concentrated harvest of wisdom and vitality. Think of the places you thought you would never see again. That trail by the creek where the air smells of pine and wet stone, prepare your shoes, for we shall walk it together. The stairs you looked at as a mountain to be climbed, you will ascend them with a lightness that surprises your own heart. I am in the very cells of your body, dancing in the mitochondria, singing in the synapses. This miracle is not a temporary reprieve, it is a permanent foundation. You have been a student of suffering and you have graduated with honors of empathy and endurance. Now I am calling you to be a witness of my restorative power, When people look at you, they won't just see a person who got well, they will see a person who was made new. Do not be afraid to breathe deeply. Fill your chest until it aches with life. That tightness you felt for decades, it is gone. I have expanded your capacity to receive. There is a specific peace I am settling into the marrow of your spine, a quiet confidence that says your future is not a mystery to be feared, but a gift to be unwrapped. We are going to go back to those dreams you tucked away in the back of the closet, the ones covered in the dust of disappointment. Bring them out. Shake them off. We are going to see which ones have grown even more beautiful in the waiting. There is a song I am humming into your spirit right now, a melody that aligns with the very frequency of heaven. It is the sound of shackles hitting the ground. It is the sound of the tomb being left behind. You are the Lazarus of your own story, walking out into the blinding, beautiful sunlight. And I am right there, unbinding the grave clothes, telling you to go, to live, to love, to be. Every hour you spent in the dark was an investment in the light you are now carrying. You are not starting from scratch. You are starting from experience, fueled by a miracle that will be the anchor of your soul whenever a cloud dares to cross your sky. Feel the warmth returning to your extremities, the tingle of life reaching the tips of your fingers and toes. This is the electricity of my love, the current of my grace, re-establishing its rightful domain over your physical form. Your body is my temple, and I have just finished a grand purification. The altars of your heart are lit with a fire that will never go out. We are not rushing to catch up on lost time, for I am the master of time, and I can stretch a moment into an eternity of meaning. We are going to walk slowly, savoring every footstep, every leaf, every heartbeat. You are a living testament to the fact that I am still in the business of doing the impossible. You are my masterpiece in progress, and the brushstrokes I am applying today are the most vibrant yet. Rest in this knowing. Bathe in this grace. The world is waiting for the version of you that has walked through the fire and come out smelling like heaven's roses. Your story is shifting from a lament to a liturgy of praise, and the choir of angels is leaning in to hear you join the song. You are loved. You are chosen. You are healed. And we are just getting started on the path where the grass is always green and the waters are always still. Feel the weight that has evaporated from your limbs. The gravity that once held you captive to your sheets has lost its claim. For so long, your world was measured in the distance between your bed and the window, a few agonizing steps that felt like a marathon. But look at you now. The heaviness in your chest, that dull, constant ache that you had learned to name as a permanent roommate, has packed its bags and fled at the sound of my voice. I have rewritten the very chemistry of your being. Where there was inflammation, I have poured a cooling oil of peace. Where there was exhaustion that sleep could never touch, I have ignited a fountain of vitality that draws from a well deeper than any biological clock. Do you remember those midnight hours when the silence of the room felt like a physical pressure? When you watched the shadows of the tree branches dance across your wall and wondered if you would ever dance again? I was there in the shadows with you, counting every tear, recording every sigh. Those tears were not wasted. They were the water for the garden I am blooming within you today. Notice the clarity in your eyes, the way the colors of the world are beginning to bleed back into your vision. You had grown used to a grayscale existence, a muted version of life, where every joy was tempered by the calculation of how much energy it would cost you. That ledger is closed. You no longer have to budget your breath or ration your smiles. I want you to walk to that medicine cabinet, the one filled with the brown plastic bottles that told you who you were for so many years, and I want you to see them for what they are, relics of a season that has ended. They were the scaffolding, but the building is now standing on its own, reinforced by the invisible steel of my grace. You are not just better, you are becoming brand new. The cellular memory of pain is being overwritten by the vibration of my joy. Even the marrow of your bones is singing a different tune today. Think back to the things you tucked away in the someday drawer of your heart, the hiking boots that gathered dust, the recipes you were too tired to cook, the invitations you declined because your body wouldn't give you permission to say yes. I am handing you the key to that drawer. I am not just giving you back your health, I am giving you back your agency. I am giving you back the capacity to be surprised by your own strength. Do you feel that tingle in your fingertips? That is the creative spark returning. You were meant to build, to touch, to hold, and to heal others with the very hands that once trembled with weakness. Your weakness was the canvas, and my power is the paint. The world looks at a chronic situation and sees a period, a finality. I look at it and see a comma, a pause for breath before the greatest chapter begins. I want you to take a deep, expansive breath, the kind that reaches down into the very base of your lungs, the kind you haven't been able to take in years. Feel the oxygen flooding your system like a river breaking through a dam. There is no restriction there. There is no catch, no wheeze, no sudden wall of limitation. This is the air of the kingdom. This is the atmosphere of the miraculous. You have lived so long in survival mode, with your nervous system on high alert, waiting for the next flare-up, the next setback, the next bad report. I am deprogramming that fear. I am recalibrating your heart to beat in rhythm with the peace of heaven. You don't have to brace yourself for a fall anymore. You are held in the palm of a hand that has never let go of the stars. Let's talk about the why. You have asked it in the quiet, desperate moments. Why me? Why this? Why so long? My child, I was not distant during the delay. I was doing a work in the basement of your soul that could only be done in the dark. I was building a foundation of empathy, a depth of character, and a reservoir of spiritual authority that you will now use to set others free. You aren't just a beneficiary of a miracle, you are becoming a carrier of the miraculous. When you walk into a room, the atmosphere will change because you carry the scent of the furnace and the victory of the fourth man who walked in it with you. You have a secret language now, the language of the overcomer. You can look into the eyes of the suffering and say, I know. And they will believe you because your very presence is proof that the desert can turn into a spring. We are going to revisit the places that used to trigger your sadness. We will walk through the parks where you sat on the bench and watched others run, feeling like an outsider to the human race. This time, you won't be a spectator. You will feel the wind on your face and know that it is my breath whispering your name. You will feel the solid earth beneath your feet and know that I have set you on a rock that will never be moved. We are reclaiming the territory the enemy stole from you, one day at a time, one joy at a time. The lost years are being redeemed in a way that will make the coming years feel like 1,000 lifetimes of beauty. I am the God of the sudden shift, the God of the third-day resurrection, and I am currently rolling away the stone from the tomb of your circumstances. Don't look back at the grave clothes. Don't try to wrap yourself in the identity of the sick person anymore. That skin has been shed. Step out into the light. The sun is warm, the path is clear, and I am right here beside you, holding your hand as we take the first step into a future that is no longer a question mark, but an exclamation point of my glory. Close your eyes for a moment, not to hide from the world, but to feel the internal shift I am orchestrating within the very marrow of your bones. Do you feel that slight warmth? It is not the fever that once haunted your nights, nor the inflammation that turned your joints into jagged glass. This is the fire of my spirit, a refining heat that consumes the residue of infirmity and leaves behind nothing but the pure gold of strength. For years, you lived by the rhythm of the pharmacy clock and the sterile hum of waiting rooms. You became a scholar of your own pain, memorizing every nuance of the ache and every limitation of your lungs. I watched you trace the patterns on the ceiling during those long, lonely midnight hours when the world was asleep, and you were trapped in the cage of a body that felt like a traitor. I saw the tears you tucked away so your loved ones wouldn't see the depth of your despair. Every prayer you whispered into your pillow was a seed planted in the soil of my heart. And now, the season of harvest has arrived with a suddenness that will leave you breathless with joy. I am reaching into the deep places of your biology, into the microscopic landscapes where your cells have forgotten how to thrive. I am speaking the word shalom over your nervous system, quieting the chaotic signals and silencing the alarms that have been ringing in your brain for a lifetime. Notice the quietness that is settling over you. It is the peace of a battlefield after the war has been won. You no longer have to brace yourself for the next wave of symptoms. The tide has turned, and the water is receding, revealing the firm ground I have prepared for you. I am replacing the heavy, dragging fatigue with a lightness of being that you haven't felt since childhood, a buoyant energy that doesn't rely on stimulants or temporary fixes, but flows directly from the throne of grace. Think of the things you stopped dreaming about because they were too painful to imagine. The long walks through the autumn leaves, the ability to lift a child without wincing, the freedom to plan a future that extends beyond the next appointment. Those dreams are not dead. They were merely sleeping, waiting for the touch of the one who calls things that are not as though they were. I am the one who knit you together in your mother's womb, and I have the original blueprint of your design in my hands. I am not just patching you up, I am restoring the masterpiece. The scars that once told a story of trauma will now serve as a testimony to the miraculous. When people look at you, they won't see the fragility that once defined you. They will see a radiance that defies medical explanation. You will be a walking wonder, a living proof that the laws of nature are subject to the law of love. Do you remember the bitter taste of those many pills, the cold touch of the stethoscope, and the way your heart sank every time a test result came back unchanged? I am washing those memories away with the living water of my presence. I am recalibrating your senses so that you can taste the sweetness of life again. Your appetite is returning, not just for food, but for adventure, for connection, and for the sheer delight of existence. I am opening the windows of your soul to let in the fresh air of hope, blowing away the dust of disappointment that had settled on your spirit. Consider the trees in the winter, how they stand bare and seemingly lifeless, enduring the biting frost. To the untrained eye, they appear finished. But deep beneath the surface, in the secret places of the earth, life is pulsing, waiting for the precise moment of the spring thaw. You have been in your winter for a long time, and you learned to survive in the cold. But I am the Son of Righteousness, rising with healing in my wings, and I have declared that your winter is over. The sap is rising, the buds are forming, and you are about to bloom in colors you didn't know you possessed. Don't be afraid of the strength you feel returning. It is not a fluke or a temporary reprieve. It is the establishment of my covenant of health over your life. When you stand up now, do it with the confidence of a conqueror. When you speak, let the tremor of fear be replaced by the resonance of authority. You are no longer a victim of your genetics or your environment. You are a child of the King, and the King is reclaiming his territory. We are going to revisit the places where you felt the most defeated, and we are going to plant flags of victory there. We are going to rewrite the narrative of your middle years, filling the chapters that were supposed to be about decline with stories of unprecedented vitality. This is not just about physical healing. It is the restoration of your soul, the mending of your mind, and the ignition of a purpose that will set your world on fire. Lean into me, for the journey is just beginning, and the path ahead is glowing with the light of 1,000 dawns. Can you feel the warmth now? It is not the searing heat of inflammation or the cold, creeping numbness that has been your constant companion for a decade. It is the rhythmic pulse of life, recalibrated by my own hand. I am moving through the very architecture of your being, from the microscopic strands of your DNA to the wide expanse of your conscious thought. Look at your hands, those hands that have trembled for so long, struggling to grasp even the simplest joys. See how steady they have become. I am infusing your marrow with a resilience that does not come from supplements or prescriptions, but from the breath I first breathed into man. You have spent years calculating the cost of every movement, measuring out your energy like a starving person rations bread. That season of scarcity is over. I am opening the storehouses of my grace, and I am pouring out a surplus that will overflow into every corner of your existence. Do you remember the chair in the corner of your bedroom? The one where you sat and watched the world go by through the glass, feeling like a ghost in your own life? I am calling you out of that chair. I am inviting you to walk through the doors you once thought were permanently locked. We are going to the garden where the weeds have overgrown the paths you were too tired to tend. We will pull those weeds together, not with the labor of a servant, but with the joy of a gardener who knows that the soil is ready to bloom again. I saw every tear that fell onto your pillow when the house was silent and the pain was a screaming presence you couldn't escape. I heard the questions you were too afraid to ask aloud. Why me? How much longer? Is this all there is? I am answering those questions today with the roar of a lion and the tenderness of a shepherd. You were never forgotten. Your suffering was not a punishment, but it was a wilderness I am now leading you out of. Your testimony will not be about the depth of the pit, but about the height of the mountain we are about to climb together. I am knitting back together the fibers of your heart that were frayed by disappointment. I am clearing the static from your mind, the mental fog that made you feel like you were walking through a dream you couldn't wake up from. Notice the clarity in your vision. Notice the way the air tastes sweet again, no longer tainted by the metallic bitterness of chronic exhaustion. I am taking the what-ifs that haunted your nights and transforming them into the beholds of your mornings. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Even now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I am placing a new song in your mouth, a melody of restoration that will cause the heavy-hearted to look up and hope. Your very presence will become a sanctuary for others who are still trapped in their own winters. You will hold their hands, and they will feel the warmth of the miracle I have worked in you. We are going to revisit the doctor's offices where the news was always grim, where the charts were filled with red ink and hopeless statistics. You will walk through those hallways not as a patient, but as a living witness of the impossible. Your records will become a puzzle to the wise, a mystery to those who only see the physical. They will look for the disease, and they will find only the fingerprints of the Creator. I am also healing the relationships that were strained by your sickness, the friends who didn't know what to say and eventually stopped calling, the family members who carried the weight of your care until their own backs were bowed. I am restoring the balance. I am giving you back the strength to be the pillar, the one who listens, the one who provides. Your middle years are not a descent into the valley of shadows. They are the plateau from which you will see the furthest. I am sharpening your senses. Your ears will hear the whispers of my spirit, guiding you to the people who need to see the light reflecting off your skin. This vitality is not a fragile thing. It is not something you have to protect or hoard. Use it. Spend it. Run the race you thought you had been disqualified from. I am the one who sets the pace, and I am telling you that we are picking up speed. There is a specific dream you buried in the backyard of your heart about 5 years ago, a project, a journey, a creative spark that you extinguished because your body couldn't sustain the fire. Go get the shovel. We are digging it up. It is not dead. It was only dormant, waiting for this season of rain. I am the Lord of the harvest, and I promise you that the fruit of your later years will be sweeter than anything you tasted in your youth. Every ache that once defined your morning is now replaced by a divine restlessness, a hunger to see my kingdom come through your newfound strength. Do not look back at the years the locusts have eaten with regret. I am the Redeemer of time. I can compress a lifetime of impact into a single decade. I can make one day of your health more productive than 1,000 days of your illness. Trust the process of this unfolding. Your body is learning a new language, the language of wholeness. Your cells are vibrating with the frequency of my peace. This is the covenant. This is the promise, and we are only on the first page of this new chapter. Look at your hands. Do you see the steadiness there? They no longer tremble under the weight of your exhaustion, nor do they reach for the supports that once defined your mobility. I am recalibrating the very architecture of your being, from the marrow of your bones to the delicate electrical pulses that bridge your thoughts to your actions. You spent so long navigating the narrow corridors of survival, your world shrinking, until it was only as large as your bed or the four walls of a treatment room. But I am expanding your territory. I am taking the no that has been written across your life for years, and I am erasing it with a definitive, celestial yes. Think of the shoes that have sat at the back of your closet, gathering the dust of disappointment. They were not waiting for a funeral, they were waiting for a festival. Put them on. Feel the floor beneath you, not as a surface of potential falls or pain, but as a foundation for your new mission. I am leading you to the threshold of the garden you once abandoned. Remember the soil you stopped tilling when the fatigue became a wall you could not climb. The weeds may have grown high, but underneath that wild overgrowth, the roots I planted are still vital. They are pulsing with a life that was protected while you were hidden in the shadow of my wings. Your illness was not a waste. It was a cocoon. And though the transition from the silk of your confinement to the vastness of the wind is jarring, your wings are strong. They are reinforced by the endurance you learned in the dark. I am healing not just the flesh, but the memory of the trauma. I am smoothing out the jagged edges of the nights you spent wondering if I had forgotten your name. I never forgot. I was the silent partner in every shallow breath. I was the strength in your weakness, and now I am the glory in your strength. I am calling you to the places where you once felt invisible, the grocery store aisles where you struggled to reach the top shelf, the parks where you watched others run while you sat on the bench, the social gatherings where you wore a mask of wellness over a heart of agony. Go back to those places. Walk through them with the quiet confidence of a miracle walking. You don't have to shout to be heard. Your very presence will be an aroma of hope to those who are still in their own winters. I am giving you back the capacity to dream in color. For years, your dreams were gray, centered only on the relief of symptoms. Now, I want you to dream of building, of traveling, of teaching, of loving without the fear of being a burden. You are no longer defined by what you lack, but by the abundance I am pouring through you. Notice the clarity in your eyes. The fog of medication and the haze of chronic pain have lifted, revealing a horizon that is bright and sharply focused. I am restoring the rhythm of your sleep, making your bed a place of restoration rather than a place of battle. When you wake, you will not check the inventory of your aches, you will check the inventory of your opportunities. There is a specific creative work, a melody you hummed but never recorded, a story you started but couldn't finish because your hands were too tired to type, that I am breathing upon. The ink will flow again. The notes will find their resonance. This is the alchemy of grace, turning the lead of your suffering into the gold of your testimony. Do not rush this unfolding, but do not shrink from it either. You are learning to carry weight again, but this time, it is the weight of my glory, which is light and easy. Every cell in your body is now a witness. They are vibrating with the frequency of a new song, a song of resurrection that began in the secret places and is now manifesting in the light of day. We are reclaiming the hours you thought were lost to the void. I am folding time for you, bringing the fruits of your future into the reality of your present. Your family will see the change and marvel. Your friends will see the light in your skin and wonder. Tell them that the physician of the soul has visited the house of the body. We are just beginning to explore the depths of this vitality. There are landscapes of service you haven't yet imagined, and souls who need the specific comfort only one who has been through the fire can provide. Your scars are becoming stars, guiding lights for those still lost in the thickets of their own infirmity. Lean into this strength. It is not a temporary reprieve. It is a permanent covenant. The sun is rising on a day that has no sunset, and you are standing on the peak, ready to fly. As you step away from the edge of that peak, do not look back at the valley of shadows with fear, for it has been repurposed into a garden of testimony. Look now at your hands, those hands that once trembled with the weight of invisible chains, or perhaps grew cold with the stagnation of a life deferred. I am infusing them with a warmth that is not of the sun, but of the source. Feel the circulation of grace moving through your veins, reaching into the smallest capillaries that have forgotten the rhythm of vigor. Notice how the air enters your lungs today. It is no longer a shallow struggle, but a deep, expansive draft of the spirit. Each breath is a decree of your liberation. I have seen the medicine bottles lined up like silent sentinels on your nightstand, those reminders of a cycle you thought would never break. Watch as they become artifacts of a previous era, relics of a history that no longer dictates your biography. I am rewriting the chemical compositions of your very marrow. Where there was inflammation, I am pouring the oil of peace. Where there was a dull, constant ache that colored your thoughts gray, I am painting with the vibrant hues of vitality. You will find yourself walking into the kitchen and reaching for the top shelf without a second thought, and the realization of your mobility will hit you like a wave of pure joy. This is the alchemy of my love. Your home, which once felt like a sanctuary of confinement, is transforming into a launch pad for the miraculous. I am clearing the static from your mind so that you can hear the melodies I have been composing for you during the long watches of the night. Do you remember the dreams you buried? The ones you set aside because your body could not sustain the pursuit? I am exhaling life back into those dry bones. That trip you thought you'd never take, the project you thought would remain a half-finished sketch, the service you desired to offer but felt too frail to provide. Behold, I am making all things new. Your family is watching you from the doorway, their faces a mixture of confusion and burgeoning hope. They have known you in your weakness for so long that they must learn a new vocabulary to describe you. Do not be afraid of their questions. Your very existence is now an answer. When you walk down the street, even the strangers will sense a shift in the atmosphere around you. They will see a person who has walked through the fire and emerged without the scent of smoke. I am giving you a radiance that defies medical logic and baffles the skeptics. This strength is not a flickering candle. It is a hearth that will warm others. Think of the hours you spent staring at the ceiling, counting the minutes until the dawn. I am giving those hours back to you, doubled and tripled in their density of purpose. You are moving from a state of surviving to a state of thriving, and the transition will be so rapid it may leave you breathless with wonder. But do not fear the speed. I am the anchor that holds you steady even as your sails catch the winds of this new season. There is a specific person I am bringing across your path, someone who is currently where you were just a moment ago. You will look into their eyes, and they will see their future reflected in your healing. You are becoming a living bridge for them. I am refining your senses so you can taste the goodness of the land again. The food will have more flavor, the music will sound deeper, and the colors of the world will seem as though they have been washed clean of a thick layer of dust. This is the restoration of the senses that comes when the soul is no longer preoccupied with the maintenance of misery. I am taking the never out of your vocabulary and replacing it with now. The documents of your diagnosis are being overshadowed by the documents of your destiny. Every cell in your body is currently undergoing a divine recalibration, aligning with the blueprint I designed before you were even formed. There is no residue of the old infirmity left to hinder you. Lean into this supernatural energy. It will not run out by the evening. It will replenish itself as you use it. I am teaching you how to walk on the water of your circumstances, not by your own effort, but by the magnetism of my grace pulling you forward. We are going deep into the heart of what it means to be truly alive. This is not just about the absence of pain, but the presence of an indestructible joy that permeates your bones. You are a pioneer of a new kind of health, one that flows from the inside out. Sit in the stillness for a moment and listen to the humming of your own renewed life. It is the sound of 1,000 chains falling to the floor at once. I am with you in this expansion, and we have only just crossed the threshold of what is possible. Observe the subtle shift in the rhythm of your heart. It no longer beats with the frantic tempo of survival, but with the steady, resonant thrum of a victory march. For years, you learned the language of limitations, becoming fluent in the vocabulary of what you could not do, where you could not go, and who you could no longer be. I am striking those words from your dictionary. The exhaustion that once sat like a stone in your chest has been pulverized into light. I want you to stand up now, not with the cautious hesitation of a soul expecting a relapse, but with the authority of one who has been reclaimed. See how your joints move with the fluid grace of a river that has finally broken through the winter ice. There is a lubrication of spirit occurring in every hinge of your frame. I am touching the very marrow where your life force is born, infusing it with an ancient vitality that predates any earthly ailment. This is the deep rest manifesting as high energy. You have spent so much time observing life through the glass of your window, watching the world move while you remained anchored by the weight of your own body. Today, I am breaking that glass. I am inviting you into the fields. Do you remember the dreams you tucked away in the back of your heart, the ones you labeled impossible because your body could not carry the weight of them? Bring them out into the sun. They were not dead. They were merely waiting for this climate of healing. I am adjusting the atmosphere of your daily life. The air you breathe is no longer just oxygen and nitrogen. It is thick with the substance of my presence, a holy fuel that ignites your metabolism and clarifies your mind. The mental fog that once obscured your vision, making every decision feel like a climb through thick mud, is dissipating. In its place, I am giving you a diamond-sharp clarity. You will see opportunities where you once saw dead ends. You will hear music in the silence that used to feel lonely. We are redefining your identity away from the patient and toward the pioneer. Your story will not be told as a tragedy of endurance, but as a masterpiece of restoration. I am watching the way you look at your own hands now with a budding sense of wonder. Yes, they are the same hands, yet they are entirely new. They are now conduits of the same healing that has touched you. As you reach out to touch the world, you will find that the grace I have poured into you overflows, splashing onto everything you encounter. There is no scarcity in this miracle. You do not have to save your energy for tomorrow. My storehouses are infinite. When you wake up tomorrow morning, the first thing you will notice is not the familiar ache, but the unfamiliar lightness, a buoyancy that makes you feel as though you are floating just an inch above the floor. This is the magnetism of my love, drawing you into a future where your physical strength is merely a reflection of your spiritual wholeness. I am healing the memories of the pain just as surely as I am healing the nerves themselves. the trauma that lived in your muscle tissue, the memories of the nights you cried out in the dark, wondering if this was all there was. I am washing those tissues clean with the water of my word. You are becoming a living testament to the fact that nothing is ever too far gone, no situation is ever too chronic, and no body is ever too broken for my touch. Feel the tingling in your fingertips. That is the electricity of my grace. It is setting a new pace for your life. You have been in a season of waiting, but now you have entered a season of becoming. We are walking through the rooms of your soul, throwing open the shutters and letting the light of this miracle bleach out every stain of despair. You are strong, not because you fought well, though you did, but because I am your strength. You are whole, not because you followed a protocol, but because I am your wholeness. Lean into me. Let the weight of your past fall away like a discarded garment. You are dressed now in the robes of health, woven from the golden threads of my favor. Walk forward. The ground beneath you is solid and the sky above you is endless. We have so much to do, so many paths to explore, and for the first time in a long time, your body is ready to say yes to every invitation I give you. This is the dawn of your true life, and the sun will never set on this restoration. I am watching you take your first real steps into this new reality, and my heart swells with the joy of a creator seeing his work finally breathe. Every cell is singing now, a choir of 10,000 voices praising the end of the night. Can you hear it? It is the harmony of a body and spirit finally in sync, vibrating at the frequency of heaven. There is a suppleness in your skin, a brightness in your eyes that reflects the light of 1,000 suns. You are no longer defined by what the reports said or what the mirrors reflected in the dim light of your hardest days. You are defined by my whisper, and I am whispering life. More life, deeper life, life that overflows the banks of your previous expectations. Don't look back at the shadows. They have no power to follow you into this brilliance. We are going further into the heights, into the places where the air is pure and the possibilities are as vast as the horizon. This is not a temporary reprieve. It is your new home. Rest in the knowledge that this miracle is as sturdy as the mountains and as constant as the tides. We are just beginning to see what you can do when you are no longer fighting your own frame. The air enters your lungs now without the jagged edge of effort, a smooth and cooling stream that nourishes every hidden corner of your being. I have watched you for so long, counting the hours by the slow crawl of shadows across your bedroom floor, your world reduced to the four walls of a sick room, and the relentless ticking of a clock that seemed to mock your stillness. But look at your hands now. See how steady they are, how the tremor of fatigue has been replaced by a quiet, foundational strength. Those fingers that once struggled to grip a pen or a spoon now possess the capability to build, to create, and to reach out in comfort to others. I am the architect of the marrow and the conductor of the pulse, and I have recalibrated the very rhythm of your heart so that it beats in perfect time with the songs of the morning stars. Think of the medical charts, those thick folders filled with numbers and graphs that tried to dictate the boundaries of your existence. They were merely sketches in the sand, and I have let the tide of my grace wash them away. The scent of antiseptic and the sterile hum of machinery that once dominated your senses have been replaced by the fragrance of damp earth and the sweet, wild promise of the jasmine blooming outside your window. You are no longer a patient. You are a pioneer. You are stepping into a territory where the gravity of your past burdens no longer applies. Do you remember the weight of the walker, the cold metal that felt like a permanent extension of your frame? It is a relic now, a monument to a season that has passed. Your legs are imbued with a lightness that defies the years of atrophy, a spring in your step that whispers of long walks on sun-drenched paths you thought you would never see again. I saw every tear you shed in the dark when the pain was a physical wall you couldn't climb over. I heard the silent, how long, that you breathed into your pillow. Those tears were never lost. I gathered them and used them to water the seeds of this sudden, magnificent blooming. This health is not a fragile glass that will shatter at the first touch of stress. It is a forged steel, tempered in the fire of your perseverance and cooled in the waters of my mercy. When you walk into a room now, you carry a different atmosphere with you. People will look at your face and see a clarity they cannot explain, a radiance that doesn't come from a bottle or a regimen, but from the source of life itself. You are a living bridge between the broken world and the kingdom of the whole. Your voice, which might have grown thin and weary from the strain of enduring, is now resonant and full, capable of laughter that shakes the rafters and words that heal the hurting. I am giving you back the years the locusts have eaten, not just in quantity, but in the exquisite quality of your experiences. The taste of your food will be richer, the colors of the sunset more vivid, and the touch of a loved one more profound because you know the value of every single breath. This miracle is your new baseline. It is the solid ground upon which you will build a future that was once a blurry dream. Do not let the habit of caution hold you back. You do not need to walk on eggshells with your own body anymore. It is robust, it is vibrant, and it is ready for the adventure. We are going to the places you avoided because of the stairs, to the gatherings you missed because of the exhaustion, to the dreams you tucked away because they required more energy than you had to give. I am pouring an oil of gladness over your head that will seep down into every joint and ligament, ensuring that your movement is a prayer of motion. You are a testimony of what happens when my yes collides with your help. This is the end of the long winter of your anatomy. The ice has cracked, the rivers are flowing, and the green shoots of 1,000 new possibilities are pushing through the soil of your life. Every cell in your body is now an instrument in my orchestra, playing a symphony of restoration that will never go out of tune. Rest in this, thrive in this, and know that my love for you is as deep as the ocean and as boundless as the sky. You are my beloved child, and today you are made whole, not just for a moment, but for the fullness of the life I have prepared for you. Go forth and live with a heart that knows no fear, for I am with you, and you are finally beautifully free.